money, Graz. I mean, when I was young, growing up, sometimes we just ran out of money and we had to eat what we didn't want to eat or do what we didn't want to do. So when you look at Trey Hendrickson and what they did with T. Higgins and obviously Jamar, he might be the odd man out at getting some big money. Cincinnati may figure it out, but the problem is you might be running low on funds. And when funds run low, some people are disgruntled and some people are happy. I'm disgruntled right now because my funds are running low because of the stock market. Trey is disgruntled because Cincinnati is being affected by the stock market.
We're going to keep it on NFL if we can. What up with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers?
I don't know, man. It's like a game of do you like me? Yes, no, or maybe, and nobody wants to answer the question. And when you look at Aaron Rodgers and you think about how he ended last season with the New York Jets, you got to figure out if it's valuable enough for you to try to wait or you to try to figure it out. But it's a Band-Aid with the Steelers, and they may need to just leave the wound open, stitch it up, and patch it up for good by waiting, by trying to position themselves to get a quarterback of the future. I know it's slim pickings, and I know nothing is guaranteed, and I know you got a one-year vision when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, but that one-year vision is the reason why we are still here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously with Kenny Pickett not working out.
Even if it's just a one-year vision, though, Swagoo, like, is Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career worth dragging this out like they are?
No. I don't think so. Look, we all know it's a lot that comes with Aaron Rodgers beyond the football field. And if anybody wants to just focus on how good he is as a quarterback, you out your damn mind. We've seen the effects that Aaron Rodgers has on franchises. The ending of Green Bay in New York this year and obviously going to Pittsburgh. The one caveat is Mike Tomlin is the head of the household. And there is no question about that. The relationship between him and Aaron Rodgers would be fine until Aaron feels like he is the head of the household. Mike Tomlin won't mince words. He's long in that organization, so he understands where he stands with that family and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this might be the one situation, which is why I recommended 5 months ago that this may be a place Aaron Rodgers should explore, because I don't think there's a question about who's going to be the head coach and making the decisions. This is one of those organizations. But again, him dragging it out, waiting a long time, it being worth it, I absolutely do not believe it's worth it.
You think it's worth them waiting for him at this point in his career?
Well, I'm one of them people who kind of says, look, what's your next best alternative right now? So they don't really have one. So they're kind of forced to wait because honestly, look, Mike can say whatever he wants about the fact that he's comfortable and that he knows Mason Rudolph. Yeah, I know that you know Mason Rudolph. And I know Mason Rudolph, and so do the opponents. And look, and that doesn't mean that he's not a good backup, but you're not getting to where you want to get to and where this fan base has been on your rear end over the past 4 or 5 years about getting to with Mason Rudolph. You're not going to get there. So I think with Aaron, they're forced to right now. And that's the unfortunate part, because you can hear the discomfort in Mr. Rooney's voice when he talks about this. This is not how he's used to being treated. This is not how this organization is used to players kind of stringing them along. I mean, they're sitting there going, we're the Pittsburgh Steelers, damn it. I mean, you don't sit here and just kind of hold us hostage and have us strung along here. And at some point, look, I think regardless, they have to look to the draft.
Right.
They have to still be looking regardless of whatever he does. But now, that's where if I'm Omar Khan, the GM, I'm focusing all of my attention on making sure I have those quarterbacks stacked the right way.
But they're picking 21st.
Right.
And they already traded away their second-round pick for DK
Therein lies the rub, right.
So it's hard to maneuver a little bit. Do they have to force something in the first round?
Well, you know what? I mean, force is all relative, right? It's all subjective. Now, most people, consensus would say, who's going to potentially be available at 21 at quarterback, you're forcing the pick. Some people may not feel that way, like myself. Some people may feel as though a guy like Tyler Shuck is worthy of a 21st overall pick. But you know what? In all seriousness, this is why they're in a tough spot. What Aaron's doing is putting them in a tough spot. And I'll tell you what, regardless of what he does, though, I'm looking at my board and I'm thinking, what is best for my football team, not just now but in the future? Quarterback has to be figured out for them.
Swagoo?
Yeah. I mean, look, the points that you guys are making are absolutely right. I'd rather take a flyer on a first-round pick that may not turn out to be good than take a flyer on Aaron Rodgers at this point. Because what if he does play well enough or bad enough for you to be positioned to draft a quarterback high in the coming years? That's been the question with Pittsburgh, right? We can't get anybody out of free agency. We've been in this up and down battle of trying to figure out the quarterback. So either you get a young quarterback and he plays bad and you position the draft high, or you get Aaron Rodgers and you float again, and we have this same conversation next year around the draft.
Yeah, well, again, as you mentioned earlier, Kenny Pickett, first-round pick that didn't work out. One of the reasons they're in this situation, and they keep winning 9-10 games every year, so they're in the middle of the draft.
Exactly,
So,
that purgatory, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's the worst place to be.
You have to figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
Much more on the NFL as we...
Kevin Nagani back with you. We're just 16 days away until night one of the NFL draft at Lambeau Field, and Mel Kiper Jr., the godfather of the NFL draft, releasing his latest mock draft 4.0. Mel continues to have Cam Ward going first overall to the Titans. The Miami Hurricane would be one of 5 quarterbacks off the board within the first 34 picks. Kiper has 3 wide receivers going in the first round, including Heisman winner and two-way threat Travis Hunter. That would be the fewest wide receivers going in the first round since 2019. That was the second of back-to-back drafts with only a pair of first-round wideouts. The rise of running backs and tight ends might be a factor here. 2 from each position slotted among the top 14 picks. Ashton Genty, the first running back off the board, at 6 to the Raiders. Kyler Warren going 10 to the Bears to help Caleb Williams. State star, that is Abdul Carter, going 3rd to the Giants. He's scheduled, by the way, to meet with the G-men on Thursday. Will Campbell will be the first offensive lineman off the board. The tackle from LSU going 4th to the Patriots. And Shedeur Sanders going 9th to the Saints in Mel's latest mock. Mel Kiper Jr. and Dan Orlovsky with us right now. Mel, you have Shedeur Sanders as your top quarterback in this draft. So why do you have him sliding down to 9th overall?
Well, he doesn't have the wow factor. I think when you look at the size, you look at the arm strength, and doesn't have the 4.6 40, it makes people pause a little bit and say, is he deserving of being a top 10 pick? I think he is. To me, Shedeur Sanders is everything the NFL wants and needs, and talk about processing, accuracy, toughness, decision-making, coming through in the clutch, being a great teammate, being a guy who eats, sleeps, and drinks football. What else can you want, Dano? When you played the position in the NFL, you're getting me a little worried. RC got me worried, and Fielding Yates got me worried about this whole thing about maybe not New Orleans. If it's not New Orleans, it could be the Ravens' enemy and their rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm here in Baltimore as a Raven fan. I don't want that, but it seems like you guys have it working out that, and maybe in mock 4.5, I should have Shedeur going to the Steelers.
Oh, we'll have a 4.5. Can't wait. Keep in mind, though, the Steelers pick at 21. Dan, if Sanders goes to the Saints, how would that fit be with new head coach Kellen Moore?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense in some areas, Kev. Now, let me say this. You can make the case for Shedeur Sanders to the New York Giants, to the Las Vegas Raiders, and certainly the New Orleans Saints. How much say does their new head coach, Kellen Moore, have in New Orleans is my biggest question when it comes to this marriage and/or addition, because Kellen Moore has been around quarterback-wise Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts, all guys that physically have just some wow characteristics. And to Mel's point, that's not necessarily who Shedeur is. Now, Shedeur's got a lot of characteristics that make quarterbacks good players in the league. And my question is, his experience with Jalen Hurts last year and the utilization